Ojimaki kindred spirits. We're going to take on underwater posing, doing some graceful, some fierce, and some goofy poses. We'll also compare in a monofin versus a tail. Let's get wild. We're going to start with a soft reach. With this, you want to get as deep as possible, and then on your side, mermaid dancing like Fat Amy, you're going to reach out with your right arm and then scull with your left so that you can maintain the balance. Turn your head and you can reach, and you got a graceful pose. Of course, we don't often see the struggle on social media, but here I'm about to show you what happens when your joints decide to have a mind of their own, putting my body completely off balance. If you watch, I go very deep, and my intention here is to move my arms very gently like seaweed, but right about here, you can see my elbow bent in a bit too early, which made my other arm struggle a bit to keep flowing. In the end, I tried to do the same dive all over again, but my buoyancy was completely off. And just like humans, mermaids can get frustrated. And right about here, I just slapped the water just to let that frustration out. Still, I must admit I am very persistent. I decided to try again, going as deep as possible, and thinking to myself, flow, really just like the seaweed below me. And suddenly I really felt my frustration fade away. Sometimes it's not incompetence, but we all make mistakes, and that's okay. The best way to release the pressure of being absolutely perfect is to just play. If we're all mermaids here, we know exactly what that means. That's how we became mermaids in the first place. And you can't see it here, but I am laughing, and even right about here, I did something new. My legs began to hit the water, and my monofin was going outside of the surface. It was such a cool feeling, and I would have never gotten that experience if I wasn't really laying around. Suddenly, I was able to move into my next graceful maneuver. I shortened my axis, pushed my monofin behind me, brought my hand to my mouth, and blew a surface kiss. I think we tend to underestimate how much play can really help with our muscle memory. For example, in my last video, Underwater Flow, where I was dancing underwater to Bridge of Light, I was able to accomplish a graceful pose where I brought my hands to my mouth and let them go with bubbles going in opposite directions. What a magical move, all because of play. Sometimes, though, we can play around a bit too much. And right here, you can see that I eventually tucked my knees in a bit too far, and even more so, I ended up in this funky formation, kind of like a frog or a squatting toddler right about here. And while it could be comedy, I didn't really intend on that, so I tried to recover with a soaring sky flyer pose, which kind of looks like an eagle before they come down to catch their prey. Whenever I need a break from doing large poses or using a lot of my body, I tend to go into doing the goofy ones. While these might seem unnecessary or unimportant, they are fantastic for interacting with land dwellers in the tank or in the aquarium. It shows off a lot of who our character is, while also masking the struggle going on behind our upper body. We want to make sure our tails are showing off all the beauty that they have, while also having a little bit of fun. Our last section of underwater poses involves transforming ourselves into mermaid warriors. These involve using our whole bodies to strike a pose weightlessly or to show off how fierce and powerful we are by controlling all the bubbles around us. For my final warrior pose combo, I dive down deep and start with a little bit of play, blowing bubble kisses, maneuvering myself, and once I get into my pose, I actually have to speak underwater. In order to do this, we cannot release our air reserves. Instead, we just control our lip movements, exaggerating as much as possible to show off our move. I'm so glad you guys decided to test the waters with underwater poses. I'll see you in the next one.